Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the UnderCover Select on this 2024 GMC Sierra. It's the same installation as the Chevy Silverado. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket and a pair of scissors. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we want to do when we get started is install our bulkhead seal. Now here's our bulkhead. I've already gone ahead and patted this down with some rubbing alcohol just to get any kind of oily residues, any kind of residues off the surface and get a nice clean surface. If you got a painted surface, you don't have to dab it, you just kind of wipe it. But the texture on the spray and bed liner, you kind of want to dab that. What we're going to do, we're going to apply this seal right across the top edge of the bulkhead as far away from the cab as possible, but just before it starts to kind of round down. So we're going to follow this line right across here. What I like to do is pull off about 6 inches of tape protector, go all the way up against the bulkhead, and then just set it in place. And when we get to the other side, we're just going to cut it in place with a pair of scissors. And press it down. All right, now we can go ahead and start working on our rail. Okay, so here is our driver's side rail. Now we're going to have the drain cup that faces towards the cab. So we're going to go ahead and pull off this shipping block and get it out of the way. The way this is going to hang on top of the bed cap is just going to set up on top and then slide all the way forward towards the bulkhead. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to assemble the clamps onto here. Here's the clamp. Let me go ahead and pull this down and show you what we're going to do with these clamps. So each one of the clamps are going to come like this. What we're going to do is I like to pull the clamps apart. So we're just going to take the long bolt all the way out, set it to the side. Then we got 2 halves of the clamp. The side that has the long oval hole, we're going to hold on to that one, bring our rail back up, and then rotate it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to decide where we want to have our clamps. So I'm going to have one right up towards the front, one right towards the rear, and one right in the center. If you notice on the inside of the rail, we've actually got a groove that's in there, and that channel is the same shape as the top of the clamp. So we're going to fit the clamp up inside that channel, push in, and snap it into place. Now I can slide that back and forth, but it's kind of trapped inside that channel. I'm going to do the same thing with my other 2 clamps. Set that in, snap it in place. Take this one, set that in, and snap that one in place. And now we can rotate it down. Once the rail's in place, I can take each one of my clamps and set them exactly where I want them. But before I attach the back side of the clamps, I want to show you the shim placement. All right, first I want to talk about the clamp location is going to be directly above the wheel well. Now, if you watch when I squeeze together right here with the bed cap and the bed cap cover, they kind of squeeze together. There's a little bit of a gap. So whenever you place the clamp there, whenever you clamp that down, it's going to deform down and that will pitch the rail down. So what we need to do is we need to install a shim. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this shim, we're going to peel this back, make sure the shim goes all the way up in place, make sure it's high up in there, but we also want to make sure it stays. So I'm going to peel back the adhesive protector, slide it up in, and peel that away. There we go. Now when I squeeze here, it doesn't deform in. Now I do also want to point out, if you go to other places along the rail, some places need shims and some do not. So if you look up in this front location, it's actually the metal flange is right up against the bed cap. So we're going to be placing our clamp here. I don't need a shim. This one I've already got the shim. This is where we're going to put our center clamp. And at the rear, where the very rear of this location, the sheet metal is right up against the bed cap. So we're going to be putting our clamp right here. If I were to go too far forward, then I would need to have a shim. So we're going to go to this location here, and let's go ahead and grab our rail. All All right, now here is our rail. Now before it gets all the way up against here and gets a little tight, I'm going to go ahead and attach our drain tube. So that's going to go right up into the drain cup, just like so. And then we'll route that after we get the rail attached. So we're going to go ahead and bring it down, bring it all the way forward up against the bulkhead. And now we're going to go ahead and get the other half of the clamp, slide it up in place, hold those together, and take our bolt and run it through. Now once I've got it finger tight, I'm going to go ahead and grab a 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet and go ahead and tighten that down. We're going to tighten that to 10 foot-pounds. As you're tightening, make sure you bear down and in. All right, let's go ahead and move up to the front clamp. We're doing the same thing. We're going to make sure that behind we are attaching to a part of the rail where we don't need the shim. Set the clamp in place. Got it finger tight. Tighten it down with a 1/2-inch to 10 foot-pounds. And the last clamp the exact same way. Make sure that we can feel where that clamp needs to be. Adjust the clamp placement if necessary. All right, now that I've got it hand tight, what I like to do is kind of push down on the rail a little bit closer to the tailgate area and pull in there and go ahead and tighten it down here. All right, now let's go ahead and move up to the drain. On your Chevy and GMC trucks, there's a couple of places where you can route this without having to worry about drilling any kind of holes. Right here, there's a hole in the side. This actually had a little rubber plug that was in there that's been pulled out. So this drain tube is going to get routed up into here. So what I'm going to do is just determine how much drain tube that I want to have in there. Cut that off. And then route that just like so. We're going to repeat the same process for the rail on the opposite side. Okay, so this is the cover as it comes out of the box. I've actually got it flipped upside down. So right here, you're going to see a little C-track. Same with over on this side. We got 2 more on the opposite side. On this side of it, you're going to see we've got a rubber gasket. That is your bulkhead seal. So this part is going to be installing on top of the bulkhead right behind the cab of the truck, just to get you oriented on the cover. These are what we're going to be focusing on right now. This right here is our cover retaining clamp. We've got 4 of them in our kit, 2 for this side, 2 for that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up that cover retaining clamp and then push up from the bottom, and that carriage bolt is going to pop out. Now, once I have that carriage bolt popped out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it into that channel. The square head of the carriage bolt will be trapped inside that channel, so the carriage bolt cannot spin. Also make sure that this notch is resting inside the channel. So I'm going to have that notch going into the channel, carriage bolt going into the channel. I want this side of it, this jaw side, facing towards where my rail is going to be. So it's facing towards the outside of the cover. And then I'm just going to kind of snug it down for right now. Do the same on this one. Loosen it up. Slide that in. Snug it down. Jaw is facing towards the outside. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, and then we can go ahead and set it up on top of the bed caps. All right, next what we're going to do is set the cover up on top of the rails and slide it over the bulkhead. We want to make sure it's centered side to side. And once we've got it in place where it's centered and we're happy with it, then we can go ahead and start folding it back towards the tailgate, 1 panel at a time. All right, now as we go back, each panel we want to make sure make slight adjustments so that we're centered. remove any kind of packing materials as we go as well. I'll get back to the last panel. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and check tailgate engagement. The way I'm going to do that is before I close the tailgate, I'm going to lift the cover up. All right, perfect. All right, now what we're going to do is very carefully fold one panel to the time towards the front. That way we don't shift out of alignment, and then we can go up underneath and attach it to the rails. Okay, so now we are underneath the cover. We're on the passenger side. Here are two cover retaining clamps, and what we're going to do is go ahead and loosen them up. Let that jaw drop down. Now, again, we've got that groove in the top of the jaw. We want that to slide over and then go underneath our rail. Also, make sure that this notch stays inside that track. We can go ahead and snug that up. Move to the rear, do the exact same thing. Loosen that up, let it slide over. Make sure the notch engages the rail. And that this notch back here stays inside the track. And snug that down as well. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. Well, it's just that simple, and that concludes the installation.